tears as appeal court affirms death sentence for Maryam Sandra. The Court of Appeal in Abuja on Friday upheld the conviction of death sentence that was handed to Maryam Sandra, daughter-in-law to the former chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Mr. Mohammed Bello Haliru. The appellate court, in an unanimous judgment by the three-man panel of justice led by Justice Stephen Ada, said it found no reason to set aside the verdict of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, which okayed Maryam to die by hanging. It held that 20 grounds of appeal Maryam filed by to challenge her conviction and sentence lacked merit and deserved to be dismissed. Maryam, who was on January 27th found guilty of stabbing her husband, Baleyami Bello, a real estate developer, to death at their Abuja residence in 2017, had it in her appeal maintained that she was denied fair hearing by the trial court. She accused the trial judge, Justice Yusuf Halilu, of bias, insisting that he relied on circumstantial and hearsay evidence to sentence her to death. The convict told the appellate court that there was lack of confessional statements, absence of murder weapons, lack of corroboration of evidence by two witnesses, and lack of autopsy report to determine the true cause of her husband's death. Insisting that the trial court judgment occasioned a grave miscarriage of justice against her, Maryam begged the appellate court to discharge and acquit her of the culpable homicide charge that led to her conviction. She urged that the failure of the trial judge to rule on a parliamentary objection she filed to challenge the charge against her and jurisdiction of the court to entertain same based on evidence of bias and lack of fair hearing she raised rendered the judgment a nullity. According to her, the trial judge erred in law when, having taken argument on her parliamentary objective to the validity of the charge on the 19th of March 2018, failed to rule on it at the occasion of the trial or at any other time. Besides, she alleged that the judge erred and misdirected himself by usurping the roles of the police when he assumed the duty of an investigating police officer (IPO). She quoted the trial judge to have said, "I wish to state that I have a duty thrust upon me to investigate and discover what will satisfy the interests and demands of justice." Maryam, through her lawyer, Mr. J.K. Gadazama San, maintained that the trial judge failed to restrict himself to the evidence that was adduced before the court. The court's usurpation of the duty of the police by taking it upon itself to investigate and discover negatively colored its assessments of the available evidence and results in it reaching an unjust decision contrary to the evidence before it, she argued. She prayed the appellate court to set aside her conviction and the sentence imposed by the High Court judge and acquits her of the charge. However, the Appellate Court, in the lead judgment that was delivered by Justice Ada, she said that it was not in doubt that the appellant killed her husband. The Appellate Court, however, faulted the court judge for his failure to rule on Maryam's parliamentary objective before he delivered final judgment on the matter. It therefore invoked its power upon Section 6(a) of the 1999 Constitution as amended and dismissed Maryam's pending parliamentary objective for want of merit. The court held that the trial judge was right in his verdict, stressing that the offense of the culpable homicide committed by the appellant is punishable by death under Section 221 of the Penal Code. The court noted that there was evidence that the appellant murdered her husband during a fight that ensued after she saw a nude picture of a girl on his phone. The trial court had based a judgment on circumstantial evidence before it. Maryam's testimony during the trial and her statement before the police, which it said established that she fatally stabbed her husband to death in Abuja on November 19, 2017. The court ordered that the convict should remain at the correctional center in Suleja till she exhausts her right of appeal. Police had in the charge marked HER 1517, which it filed pursuant to Section 109D of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, alleged that Maryam stabbed her husband to death with a broken bottle at their Abuja residence. The prosecution told the court that Biliami died as a result of several stabs on his chest and neck. Police maintained that the defendant attacked her husband with the knowledge that her act was likely to cause his death. She was equally charged with the offense of causing grievous hurt, contrary to Section 247 of the Penal Code law. Though Maryam's mother, Maimuna Aliyu, her brother Aliyu Sanda, and one Saliya Aminu were initially charged as co-confidants in the matter, they were later discharged by the court. The prosecution has alleged that Maryam's family member attempted to destroy evidence that linked her matter to the murder. Maryam, who is the mother of two, had in her testimony during the trial denied the allegation that she killed her husband. She claimed that her husband slipped and fell to the broken shisha pot. Wow, this is so sad. Maryam will thank God. She will be thanking God now for, that the court has discharged her. The appeal court has discharged her because the high court in their judgments, charged her for murder, and sentenced her to death by hanging. But she appealed, and the appeal court, her appeal has been heard, and she has been discharged based on the evidence, based that there was no evidence, and that by the two witnesses and lack of autopsy reports to determine the true cause of the husband's death. Wow. And another thing was that there was absence of murder weapon absence of murder weapon. These are the concrete evidence that was supposed to have, led Maryam to death by hanging, but was not present in the report against Maryam. Well, be that as it may, let's be peaceful with one another no matter what happens. Let peace reign among ourselves, among husbands, among the wives. Let peace reign in homes, in the church, in the mosques, in Nigeria as a whole. Let peace reign, and because that is the most important thing in whatever we do here on earth. Thank you for listening. Then I will see you on the other news. Don't forget to subscribe to this to Tarish TV. Bye for now.